Shalom, everybody. I'm Dr. Yasapa from Zion Law School. I want to say thanks to Donna Block and also, let me see this brother's name. The brother who, BML. Hold on a second. Let's see. All right, I got that split away. So this brother BML RMWD, thanks a lot for letting me know that the sound, that YouTube turned off the sound. I'm often censored. So on all of the social media platforms, they usually kick me off, or I've just experienced a lot of censoring. So I want to say thank you to Donna Block and VML RMWD for letting me know that the sound was turned off. So hopefully they won't turn it off on this video. I'm going to start again. And I also want to say thanks to Judith Bay. I think this is the Judy I know, Judith Bay. So Judy is telling us that ET, SEQ means and the following. So it's at sequentes. So let's get into the document. I'm going to read back through this. Okay, so this is the executive order on imposing certain sanctions in the event of foreign interference in a United States election. Let me turn my camera off so I can focus. All right, again, this was issued September 12, 2018. All right, so it appears that the Trump administration anticipated that this is going to happen. Now, for those of you who have followed the protocols of the Elders of Zion, document that we've been covering, that I got from the FBI, website, their vault. It was declassified, I think, in 1997, if I remember correctly. But if you read that document, I think you can buy it in the book or you can get it off the FBI's website. But you can watch the first several protocols right here on my YouTube channel. We go through it step by step by step. You'll see a lot of what of what's going on right now. It's almost like a fulfilled prophecy, if you want to look at it that way. It's their plans, the Zionist plans to take over the world. But anyway, that said, Zionist would be a synonym for globalist, and Trump is not a globalist. But anyway, if you go through that document and then you read this executive order, it'll give you great insight into what's happening in the world today. Also, importantly about this document tells you what's going on behind the scenes and what to expect. So for example, we can expect certain governments or entities, what have you, or people, that their properties will be seized, either in the US or on foreign soil. Properties will be seized, and there's probably going to be a lot of arrests. But anyway, let's go through this, and I'm going to read through this, okay? I'm not going to spend too much time because I'm going to leave that other video up. So I'm just going to read through this. By the authority vested in me as president by the Constitution and the laws of the United States of America, including International Emergency Economic Powers Act 50 U.S.C. 1701 et Squire. So you can refer back to what that means. I went over it. I'm going to paste that in the description box, so you know what that means. IEEPA, the National Emergency Act, 50 U.S.C. 1601 at Sequenta, NA, Section 212F of the Immigration and Nationality Act of 1952, 8 U.S.C. 1182F, and Section 301 of Title III United States Code. I, Donald Trump, President of the United States of America, find that the ability of persons located in whole or in substantial part outside the United States to interfere in or undermine public confidence in United States elections, including through unauthorized accessing of election and campaign infrastructure, or the covert distribution of propaganda and disinformation. So we saw that happening big time with the COVID pandemic, the Dr. Shiva Senate race scandal where he was cheated out of his election, and the presidential election. So we see all of this stuff happening right now, the forcing people to wear masks, the censoring on all social media. So we see all of this happening. And it happened, well, not just in the US, but on a global scale. I know because of where I'm at. Okay, so let's continue. Including through the unauthorized accessing of election and campaign infrastructure. So this would be the machines that are being used, or the covert distribution of propaganda and disinformation. So that would be the censoring, right? And those third-party fact checkers, constitutes an unusual and extraordinary threat to the national security and foreign policy of the United States. Although there has been no evidence of a foreign power altering the outcome or vote tabulation in any United States election. Now, remember, this is prior to 2018, but with this Dominion software, it's come out that this software package has been in operations in the United States for about 30 years. So it's come out that 30 years of election fraud has been taking place in the United States. So what they will do, I guess, is up in the air. But at this time, the assumption was that it had never happened, but now it's come out that the Dominion software has been in use for over 30 years. So election fraud has potentially, and this is my opinion, YouTube, so I can state my opinion. You cannot fact check this video and take it down because I'm stating my opinion, not a fact. And don't silence the video because of this. Okay, all right, so let's continue. Although there has been no evidence of a foreign power altering the outcome or vote tabulation in any United States election, foreign powers have historically sought to exploit America's free and open political system. In recent years, the proliferation of digital devices and internet-based communications has created significant vulnerabilities and magnified the scope and intensity of the threat of foreign interference, as illustrated in the 2017 Intelligence Community Assessment. I hereby declare a national emergency to deal with this threat. So as you can see, what will happen is the states will certify the winner, and there will be declared either publicly or privately, without the public's knowledge, there's going to be a national emergency declared, with the public knowing or without the public knowing. This executive order will be, or most likely is being implemented or executed on right now as we speak. I'm confident of that. Accordingly, I hereby order Section 1A, not later than 45 days after the conclusion of a United States election, the Director of National Intelligence, in consultation with the heads of any appropriate executive departments and agencies, shall conduct an assessment of any information indicating that a foreign government, so this information has already come forward, right? The fraud So this has to be being executed upon right now, even though it's behind the scenes, because mainstream media is not talking about this. And I don't think anybody is talking about this executive order. So it must be because people have been walked into a trap. Okay, shall conduct an assessment of any information indicating that a foreign government or any person acting as an agent of or on behalf of a foreign government has acted with the intent or purpose of interfering with that election. So this would be Facebook, Google, Twitter, all of the big news organizations, CNBC, CNN, MSMBC, ABC, NBC, or whatever else. All of these organizations, Black Lives Matter, Antifa, so on and so forth. All of these organizations have stepped out and demonstrated or provided evidence that they're acting in cahoots. Also, the Biden family, Obama, the Clintons. So lots of people, I'm sure government officials and the FBI, CIA, right? All of these people, it looks like they're going to be arrested because the evidence has been is being gathered on them. So this is what this is telling us. Again, let me start over because I lost my spot. I'll start here. Shall conduct an assessment of any information indicating. So what's the information? The information is the race. Remember in the Dominion software, the race weighted or the weighted race function that allows more than one vote to be counted per person or less than one vote to be counted per person. And then also there's the ability to switch votes from one candidate to the other candidate. There's also a feature where one candidate's votes for a particular candidate can be just deleted. So obviously there's no need to have those type of features in a voting software package like that. But anyway, it is what it is. So let's continue. All right, of any information indicating that a foreign government, and my understanding is that China and Venezuela and possibly even Germany is involved in this, okay? Or any person or agent, so we covered that already. So here we are. The assessment shall identify to the maximum extent ascertainable the nature of any foreign interference and any methods employed to execute it. So that would be the computer software, right? And probably the people who are involved in it, and probably even the manufacturers of the machines. The persons involved, the foreign government or governments that authorized, directed, sponsored, or supported it. The Director of National Intelligence shall deliver this assessment and appropriate supporting information. So that supporting information is going to be the evidence, right? He's going to deliver the evidence to the president. So supporting information would be investigatory work, right? The Secretary of State, the Secretary of the Treasury, the Secretary of Defense, the Attorney General, and the Secretary of Homeland Security. So this is going to be affidavits. It's going to be domain specific analysis of the election results, probability and statistical analysis, all of that stuff, right? So paragraph B, within 45 days of receiving the assessment, so 45 and 45 is 90 days, that's 3 months, right? 3 months. And information described in section 1A of this order, the Attorney General and the Secretary of Homeland Security in consultation with the heads of any appropriate agencies, and as appropriate, state and local officials shall deliver to the President, the Secretary of State, the Secretary of the Treasury, and the Secretary of Defense a report evaluating with respect to the United States election that is subject to the assessment described in Section 1A, paragraph bullet point 1. To the extent which any foreign interference that targeted election infrastructure, again, that would be the software, right, in this case, and the ballots, materially affected the security or integrity of the infrastructure. And here we go, the tabulation of votes, right? That's the big issue right now, the tabulation of votes. How did Biden get those hundreds of thousands of votes and leapfrog Trump when when those states decided to shut the counting down? Okay, so the tabulation of votes or the timely transmission of election results. So in this case, this will refer to what? Counting the votes after election day. Okay, remember the state legislature decides when the votes would not be counted, and then in some states the Supreme Court stepped in, or other executive or an executive stepped in. I don't remember exactly how it go, but they extended the time, okay, that you can count votes, and it was unconstitutional. And this is what one of the lawsuits are about. All right, so let's go to the paragraph bullet point 2 rather. If any foreign interference involved activities targeting the infrastructure of or pertaining to a political organization, campaign, or candidate, the extent to which such activities materially affected the security or integrity of that infrastructure, including by unauthorized access to, disclosure or threatened disclosure of, or alteration or falsification of information or data. So this would be all of that cheating. I guess you could include that there, all of the cheating on the ballots, the dead people, the false names, and all of that stuff. The report shall identify any material issues of fact with respect to these matters that the Attorney General and the Secretary of Homeland Security are unable to evaluate or reach agreement on at the time the report is submitted. The report shall also include updates and recommendations when appropriate regarding remedial actions. This would be remedy, y'all. Remedy. In other words, what is the United States government going to do to the people or governments or entities who interfered with the election? Are they going to put them in jail? Are they going to charge them with treason, put them to death, so on and so forth? So any remedial actions to be taken by the United States government other than the sanctions described in section 2 and 3 of this order. So big time political people like Obama and the Clintons, the investigation will certainly include them, and this will apply to them, I'm sure. Okay, paragraph C. Heads of all relevant agencies shall transmit to the Director of National Intelligence any information relevant to the execution of the Director's duties pursuant to this order, as appropriate and consistent with applicable law. If relevant information emerges after the submission of the report mandated by Section 1A of this order, the Director, in consultation with the heads of any other appropriate agency, shall amend the report as appropriate, and the Attorney General and the Secretary of Homeland Security shall amend the report required by Section 1B as appropriate. Paragraph D. Nothing in this order shall prevent the head of any agency or any appropriate official from tendering to the President at any time through an appropriate channel any analysis, information, assessment, or evaluation of foreign interference in a United States election. So this assures that if there's a traitor in one organization, that person won't be able, you can bypass that traitor by going to the appropriate channels to reach the president. So this is actually, this is pretty smart to have that in there. Okay, E, if information indicating that foreign interference in a state, tribal, or local election within the United States has occurred is identified, and in this case with the presidential election, it has been identified, and with Dr. Shiva's Senate election, it's also been identified. It may be included as appropriate in the assessment mandated by Section 1A of this order, or in the report mandated by Section 1B of this order, or submitted to the president in an independent report. Paragraph F, not later than 30 days. So we were at 90, right? So this would be 120 days. Not later than 30 days following the date of this order, the Secretary of State, the Secretary of, no, that's not the case. So this would happen 30 days, and then the other one would be 15 days from here. So that would be the 45 days. The Secretary of State, the Secretary of the Treasury, the Attorney General, the Secretary of Homeland Security, and the Director of National Intelligence shall develop a framework for the process that will be used to carry out their respective responsibilities pursuant to this order. Now this is, well, that's a different, I'll save that for later. The framework, which may be classified in whole or in part, shall focus on ensuring that agencies fulfill their responsibilities pursuant to this order in a manner that maintains methodological consistency, protects law enforcement or other sensitive information and intelligence sources and methods, maintains an appropriate separation between intelligence functions and policy and legal judgments, ensures that efforts to protect the electoral processes and institutions are insulated from political bias, and respects the principles of free speech and debate. Okay. Section 2A. All property and interest in property that are in the United States that hereafter come within the United States, or that are hereafter, or that are or hereafter come within the possession or control of any United States person of the following persons are blocked and may not be transferred, paid, exported, withdrawn, or otherwise dealt in. So that means they're going to take the money, right? They're going to stop the money flow. Any foreign person determined by the Secretary of the Treasury in consultation with the Secretary of State, the Attorney General, and the Secretary of Homeland Security, 1, to have directly or indirectly engaged in, sponsored, concealed, or otherwise been complicit in foreign interference in the United States election. So this would be all of the tech companies, right? The, well, not only tech companies, but people like Bill Gates, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, or whatever that is, Bill Gates himself, his wife, personally, right? Personally, and their organization, the Clinton Foundation, and both of them personally. Some of the senators, I think Senator Feinstein's husband or something is on the board of Dominion or something like that. I don't know all the details of this stuff. But here we see it, okay? To have directly or indirectly engaged in, sponsored, concealed, or otherwise been complicit in foreign interference in a United States election. So this would be all of those TV stations like CNN, ABC, CBS, NBC, MSNBC, Fox News. All of these people have demonstrated that they're in on this stuff. At least that's the sense that I get. That's my opinion, right? But we'll see when this plays out. Okay, so bullet point 2, to have materially assisted. So these are the allegations that I'm talking about in paragraph 1. They're alleged to be involved in this stuff. Okay, so paragraph 2, I'm sorry, bullet point 2, to have materially assisted, sponsored, or provided financial, material or technological support, or goods or services to or in support of any activity described in section A1 of this section, or any person whose property and interest in property are blocked pursuant to this order. So again, we see all of those entities mentioned above involved in this. Bullet point 3, to be owned or controlled by, or to have acted or purported to act or on behalf of, directly or indirectly, any person whose property or interest in property are blocked pursuant to this order. Paragraph B, Executive Order 13694 of April 1, 2015, as amended by Executive Order 13757 of December 28, 2016, remain in effect. This order is not intended to and does not serve to limit the Secretary of the Treasury's discretion to exercise the authorities provided in Executive Order 13694. Where appropriate, the Secretary of the Treasury, in consultation with the Attorney General and the Secretary of State, may exercise the authorities described in Executive Order 13694 or other authorities in conjunction with the Secretary of the Treasury's exercise of authorities provided in this order. Paragraph C. The prohibitions in subsection A of this section apply except to the extent provided by statutes or in regulations, orders, directives, or licenses that may be issued pursuant to this order, and notwithstanding any contract entered into or any license or permit granted prior to the date of this order. Section 3. Following the transmission of the assessment mandated by Section 1A and the report mandated by Section 1B, Paragraph A, the Secretary of the Treasury shall review the assessment mandated by Section 1A and the report mandated by Section 1B, and in consultation with the Secretary of State, the Attorney General, and the Secretary of Homeland Security. I think this is why Trump has been firing people in these agencies, and I think over the last couple of days he's fired some people and replaced them. Okay, so the Attorney General and the Secretary of Homeland Security impose all appropriate sanctions pursuant to Section 2 of this order and any appropriate sanctions described of Section 2B of this order, and Paragraph B, the Secretary of State and the Secretary of the Treasury in consultation with the heads of other appropriate agencies. So this is like a federal government-wide effort to bring these people down. In consultation with the heads of other appropriate agencies, shall jointly prepare a recommendation for the President as to whether additional sanctions against foreign persons may be appropriate in response to the identified foreign interference in the light of the evaluation of the report mandated by Section 1B of this order, including as appropriate and consistent with applicable law, propose sanctions with respect to the largest business entities licensed or domiciled in a country whose government authorized, directed, sponsored, or supported election interference, including at least one entity from each of the following sectors: financial services, defense, energy, technology, and transportation, or, if inapplicable to that country's largest business entities, sectors of comparable strategic significance to that foreign government. The recommendation shall include an assessment of the effect of the recommended sanctions on the economic and national security interests of the United States and its allies. Any recommended sanctions shall be appropriately calibrated to the scope of the foreign interference identified and may include one or more of the following with respect to each targeted foreign person. Bullet point 1, blocking and prohibiting all transaction in a person's property and interest in property subject to the United States jurisdiction. So that means that they can take these billionaire technology guys, all their money and all of their property, and they can seize it. 2, export license restrictions under any statute or regulation that requires the prior review or approval of the United States government as a condition of the export or re-export of goods and services. So I'm wondering if this would include their license to operate their companies. I don't know if they have a license through the FCC or something like that, but maybe that's in jeopardy also. But to me seems like this can lead to a case in Congress to break up Facebook, Google, and so on and so forth. What's the word? The word escapes me now. It'll come back to me. But that's what this is sounding like. Bullet point 3, prohibitions on United States financial institutions making loans or providing credit to a person. Bullet 4, restrictions on transactions in foreign exchange in which a person has any interest. Bullet point 5, prohibitions on a transaction of credit or payment between financial institutions or by, through, or to any financial institution for the benefit of a person. Prohibition on United States persons investing in or purchasing equity or debt of a person. Exclusion, so you can't do any type of financial transaction with these people who are implicated in this. Exclusion of a person's alien corporate officers from the United States. Bullet 8, imposition on a person's alien principal, executive officers of any of the sanctions described in this section, or bullet point 9, any other measures authorized by law. Okay, so I guess this would include criminal, right? Because it doesn't say civil, right? It just says any other measures authorized by law. Section 4, I hereby determine that the making of donations of the type of article specified in Section 203B2 of IEEPA 50 U.S.C. 1702B2 by, to, or for the benefit of any person whose property and interest in property are blocked pursuant to this order would seriously impair my ability to deal with the national emergency declared in this order, and I hereby prohibit such donations as provided by Section 2 of this. So they're really going to starve these people out. They're not going to be able to defend themselves in court because they're not going to have any money to be able to do it. So it seems to me that regardless of who wins, who the Electoral College elects as president, this executive order is being implemented, and it appears that because of this stuff, and it appears to me from what I've seen in the news, that election fraud has taken place, and that there has been, or there is, foreign operatives involved in this. And Joe Biden and all the laptop and all that evidence that he has, it seems to me clearly that Trump is going to stay in office if this executive order is implemented. But it appears to me that this is what's going on behind the scenes. So regardless of what any court says, and regardless of if this goes to the Supreme Court or not, President Trump still looks like he has the Trump card, and looks like he anticipated well what the Democratic Party was going to do, and he looks like he played a good chess game. So if you believe that this is the elections are real, then this would have been a smart move, right? But if you believe that this is all theater, which it could be, right? It could be. Then this is not surprising either, right? Because they, this wouldn't be the first time they did some elaborate scheme to form public opinion. Okay, so anyway, Section 5. The prohibitions in Section 2 of this order include the following. A, the making of any contribution or provision of funds, goods, or services by, to, or for the benefit of any person whose property and interest in property are blocked pursuant to this order. And B, paragraph B, the receipt of contribution or provisions of funds, goods, or services from any such person. Section 6. I hereby find that the unrestricted immigrant and non-immigrant entry into the United States of aliens whose property and interest in property are blocked pursuant to this order would be detrimental to the interest of the United States, and I hereby suspend entry into the United States as immigrants or non-immigrants of such persons. Such persons shall be treated as persons covered by Section 1 of the Proclamation 8693 of July 24, 2011. Suspension of entry, aliens subject to United Nations Security Council travel bans and international emergency economic powers Act sanctions. Section 7. Here we are, Section 7. Section 7. Section 7A. Any transaction that evades or avoids, has the purpose of evading or avoiding, causes a violation of, or attempts to violate any of the prohibitions set forth in this order is prohibited. Okay. B, paragraph B. Any conspiracy formed to violate any of the prohibitions set forth in this order is prohibited. Section 8, the purpose of this order. Section 8, for the purpose of this order. Okay, so let's get into the definitions. A, the term person means an individual or an entity. Everybody should remember that, an individual or an entity. B, the term entity means a partnership, association. So notice a person can be a partnership, association, trust, joint venture, corporation, group, subgroup, or other organization, right? Right, C. The term United States person, now this is also an interesting one. Everybody should remember, United States person means any United States citizen. Notice that it's lowercase citizen, not capital C. Not capital C citizen, but lowercase c citizen. Permanent resident alien, entity organized under the laws of the United States or any jurisdiction within the United States, including foreign branches. So here we can see foreign branches, right? Foreign branches, or any person, including a foreign person in the United States. The term election infrastructure means information and communication technology. So this would be the Dominion software and systems used by or on behalf. So these systems could be tools that Facebook uses to track people, right? Or systems that these tech companies are using to communicate with each other, right? About who to censor, okay? Things that would be breaking antitrust laws. That's what I was talking about. It appears to me that this executive order is going to lead to antitrust suit against these big tech companies, and it's going to break them up. That's what it looks like to me. But what's your thought? If you have a thought, put it in the comments, okay? And also like and share this video, please. Let's get this information out to our people so we can be educated about what's happening here. This is a real executive order. This is what's happening behind the scenes. So if you are familiar with this executive order, then you shouldn't have to worry, right? You shouldn't have to wonder what's going on with the news and all of this stuff. This is what's really happening in the background, okay? So, and by the way, the proof of this is I got this from whitehouse.gov. This document is on whitehouse.gov. I'm going to put it in the description box. Also, I think in the comment section, either one or both. So let's go back to paragraph D. Paragraph D. All right, here we go. The term election infrastructure means information and communication technology and systems used by or on behalf of the federal government or state, or local government in managing the election process, including voter registration databases, voting machines, voting tabulation equipment, right? So this is where that race-weighted feature that allows the people to make one person have less than one vote or more than one vote, right? Allow them to delete votes, so on and so forth. So that's all of that tabulation equipment. And equipment for the secure transmission of election results. Okay. Secure, the key is here, secure, right? Secure. And they had all kind of glitches, or at least they said it was glitches, right? But anyway, from what I've heard in the news, that the transmission of the results, and actually the database itself is not secure. Anybody can get into it and make changes without a password. This is what I've heard on the news. I don't know if that's true, but you see it's a problem here, right? Okay, the term United States election means any election for federal office. So this would be the presidency or Congress, right? That would be the Senate or the House. Okay, any federal office held on or after the date of this order. Okay. The term United States election means any election for federal office held on or after the date of this election. So maybe this won't go retroactively back 30 years since they started using the Dominion and the other software. I think it's 30 years, but it doesn't matter. Okay, paragraph 8, the term foreign interference with respect to an election includes, so this is the key, right? Foreign interference, okay? China, Venezuela, right? Includes any covert, fraudulent, deceptive, or unlawful actions or attempted actions of foreign government or, okay, or of any person acting as an agent. So with this might include Obama, Joe Biden, his son, Hillary Clinton, so on and so forth, and whoever else, as it were. I guess that this would be the swamp. Or of any person acting as an agent of or on behalf of a foreign government, undertaken with the purpose or effect of influencing, undermining confidence. By the way, President Trump said Biden is owned by China. Okay, so we should expect an investigation of Biden and his son, or even an arrest. We'll see, but this is what that sounds like to me. Okay, undermining confidence in, okay, so all of this censoring, all of the denial of voter fraud, everything that has been happening with these tech companies and the old media has undermined the confidence in the election process, hasn't it? Okay, I think they did a poll where it says 51% of the nation doesn't trust the presidential election results, and I think it's 70 or 80% of the Republicans, something like that, think that the election was a fraud or was stolen. Okay, so there's an undermining of confidence that did take place, or altering the result or reported result of the election. Okay, so we see this right now with the media, right? Also with the, they had people voting, okay? And all of this stuff that we see right now. So here we see that, or undermining public confidence, right? So here we see it again, undermining public confidence. This is surely taking place in election process or institutions, okay? Or institutions, like what? Like the Secretary of State, right? Like the governor, so on and so forth. Okay, and also the process with the observers who were not able to observe the ballots uh, in a meaningful way. So we can see that by definition of these terms, um, that this executive order has been executed upon, even though we don't see it in the media. Okay, just by looking at these definitions. G, the term foreign government means any national, state, provincial, or other government governing authority, any political party, Black Lives Matter, Antifa, right? The Democratic Party, or any official. Okay, these would be the Zionist agents or the globalist agents. Okay, this is my opinion. So you can't take the video down. This is my opinion. YouTube. All right, or any official of any governing authority or political party in each case of a country other than the United States. The term covert with respect to an action or attempted action means characterized by an intent or apparent intent that the role of a foreign government will not be apparent or acknowledged publicly. Now, we definitely see that this was covert, right, with Venezuela and with China. Okay. The term state means several states or any of the territories, dependencies, or possessions of the United States. Okay. Section 9. For those persons whose property and interest in property are blocked pursuant to this order, who might have a constitutional presence in the United States, I find that because the ability to transfer funds or other assets instantaneously prior to notice to such persons of measures to be taken pursuant to this order would render those measures ineffectual. I therefore determined that for these measures to be effective in addressing the national emergency declared in this order, there need be no prior notice of a listing or determination made pursuant to Section 2 of this order. That means they're just going to bounce on them. No notice, no warning. They're just going to pounce on them, right? They're just going to pounce on them. Okay. Section 10. Nothing in this order shall prohibit transactions for the conduct of the official business of the United States government by employees, grantees, or contractors thereof. So what do we notice here? That the United States government has grantees and contractors, right? And employees. So the Moors would know what this is about. Actually, the Moors would know what most of this is about. Okay, Section 11. The Secretary of the Treasury, in consultation with the Attorney General and the Secretary of State, is hereby authorized to take such action, including the promulgation of rules and regulations, and to employ all powers granted to the United States, to the President by IEEPA, as may be necessary to carry out the purposes of this order. The Secretary of the Treasury may delegate any of these functions to other officers within the Department of the Treasury consistent with applicable law. All agencies of the United States government are hereby directed to take all appropriate measures within their authority to carry out the provisions of this order. Do y'all see that? All agencies of the United States government. Okay, all agencies. So that means they're going to throw everything they have at these people. All agencies of the United States government are hereby directed to take all appropriate measures within their authority to carry out the provisions of this order. Section 12, the Secretary of the Treasury, in consultation with the Attorney General and the Secretary of State, is hereby authorized to submit the recurring and final reports to Congress on the national emergency declared in this order, consistent with Section 401C of the NEA 50 U.S.C. 1641C and Section 204C of IEEPA 50 U.S.C. 1703C, Section 13. This order shall be implemented consistent with 50 USC 1702B1 and 3, Section 14. Nothing in this order shall be construed to impair or otherwise affect, bullet point 1, authority granted by law to an executive department or agency or the head thereof, or bullet point 2, the functions of the director of the House of the Office of Management and Budget relating to budgetary, administrative, or legislative proposals. Paragraph B. This order shall be implemented consistent with applicable laws and subject to the availability of appropriations. Paragraph C. This order is not intended to and does not create any right or benefit, substantive or procedural. Here's another two important terms, right? Well, actually four: right, benefit, substantive, or procedural, right? Substantive or procedural, okay? These are legal terms. Everybody should really know these. Enforceable at law or equity, right? So we should know what law is and we should know what equity is. The Moors know this stuff. By any party against the United States, its departments, agencies, or entities, its officers, employees, or agents, or any other person. Donald J. Trump. Okay, so Donald J. Trump, this is the end of the document. I'm sure he signed it here. The White House, it was issued September 12th, 2018. So it appears that Trump is a better chess player than the people who did this election fraud. Okay, so let's see what happens with this. And let's just watch. Now we know what's going on in the background. We don't really have to pay attention too much to the news, except for to try to piece these things together. So if you haven't watched the Protocols of the Elders of Zion videos that I put up, please go watch them. That'll give you even greater insight into what this is all about. Also subscribe to this YouTube channel. If you want to make a donation, feel free to do so. Like the video, share the video, and please share this with other people so that our people will know what's going on behind the scenes, okay? Because it's right here. This can give you peace of mind. So go ahead, read this for yourself. I'm going to put the link in the description box. Again, this is the executive order on imposing certain sanctions in the event of foreign interference in a United States election. This was issued September 12th, 2018. All right. So that said, Shalawama, I'm Dr. Yasapa with Zion Law School. I invite you to come to our Saturday class, where we're going to do a word-for-word breakdown or word-for-word analysis, investigation, examination of every word in Deuteronomy chapter 28, starting with verse 15, which is the beginning of the curses. We already completed the blessings. Now we're going to start with the curses. And this Saturday, I'm going to do the location. I'm going to show the location of the promised land. I'm going to show the location of the promised land. That's this Saturday at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So everybody is welcome to come observe the class. You don't have to pay anything. You can observe 4 classes for free. You don't have to pay anything. There's no obligation to do anything. Just come and learn. Okay, and everybody really should learn Deuteronomy chapter 28, right? Because this is the foundation of us knowing who we are, right? This is where the identifiers, right? The marks are. So come learn with us. I'm going to teach you everything that there is to know, okay? All right, so I'm Dr. Yasapa. I hope you learned something from this video, and I will say Shalawama right now.